Welcome back to my channel. I'm Christy Lynn. Today's video is going to be all about pregnancy after miscarriage. A while back, I shared a video on my miscarriage story when I announced my current pregnancy, and a lot of you all are finding me through that video. So YouTube is telling me that there are a lot of people searching for information about pregnancy after miscarriage. I had an early miscarriage. It's also known as a chemical pregnancy. That's where you have a miscarriage around or prior to 5 weeks. So this video will be based on that experience. When I was going through my miscarriage, it was a really lonely experience and isolating. So having videos like this really helped me out, just to help me not feel alone, but also to give me hope, especially because that was my first pregnancy. So for me, losing our little baby in our very first pregnancy really gave me a lot of anxiety going into pregnancy in general. So I hope this video is helpful to any of you out there who are either going through this yourself right now or are currently pregnant, have been through miscarriage, and just want advice for holding on to hope and just keeping anxiety at bay. I'm not going to go into a ton of details about my actual miscarriage experience. If you want to hear more about that, you can watch my Girl Talk video, which I will link right here as well as at the end of the video. It'll also be in the description, so you can't miss it. And I go into a lot more detail there about my whole miscarriage experience. But just to touch on it briefly if you're new here, in February 2020, this year, my husband and I became pregnant for the very first time. I found out I was pregnant at 8 DPO, which is days past ovulation, and I got a very faint positive. I took a test every single day because I wanted to see the line get darker. I wanted that experience, you know, the whole line progression where it starts out light and gets darker and darker every day or every other day. But unfortunately, that is not how it worked out for me. Long story short, it got a little darker and then it just started fading more and more. And then we ended up losing the baby just a bit over 4 weeks. One of the reasons why I want to talk about this is because a lot of times I think it's natural to just keep this to ourselves and to feel a lot of shame and guilt around this topic, and I just really don't want to add to that. Also, I want to honor our little baby's life. I want our little baby's life to have mattered, and I don't want to just be so hush about it as if it never happened, because I know that we have a little baby up in heaven that we'll get to meet one day. There's nothing shameful about it, but I do completely understand if you're going through right now. I'm so sorry, and I totally understand how it feels to not want to talk about it, to keep it to yourself. And there's nothing to say that you should talk about it. Maybe you can best process it by just being alone right now, and that's totally okay. That is why I'm making this video, because I want you not to feel alone, even if you decide that's the way you want to cope with it and that's the way you want to deal with it, because that's how I dealt with it. I didn't tell anybody while I was going through it. So how did I go from having the miscarriage to now being pregnant again? Just so you know, I am currently 33 weeks pregnant with a baby girl, and she is healthy and doing well and thriving. So I hope I can offer that as encouragement and hope to all of you. But how did I get to this point? Well, first of all, just moving forward from the miscarriage was very difficult. I think the first month, at least afterward, I felt really down. I, of course, was looking into everything. I was blaming myself. I really felt like my body had just failed me and the baby, and I wanted to know why. I was grasping for a reason behind what happened, and sometimes there just isn't a reason. A lot of times it just has to do with a chromosomal abnormality. So it's nothing that's in your control. It's your body recognizing that something just wasn't right, and there was just no way for it to be a viable pregnancy. So sometimes that's all it is, and there's really no way to find that out. From the research I did, it is believed that that is the reason for most early miscarriages. But of course, I understand it doesn't always stop you from searching for answers. And for me, I do believe that there was an underlying issue for my miscarriage. Moving forward for me, I just took a closer look at my health, at any symptoms that I have been having. Just wanted to make sure that I had considered everything and that there was nothing else that I could do to change or increase the likelihood of having a successful pregnancy in the future. You know, I was just kind of grasping at straws, and the first thing I did was I have something called an MTHFR gene variation or mutation. I won't bore you with the details, but it is actually quite common, and miscarriage is tied to it if you aren't taking the right vitamins. So I was taking the right vitamins, but because that's the only thing I knew that was wrong with me, I immediately blamed that and thought maybe that was it. I really 100% had thought I was doing what I needed to do for it, and you know what, I was. It turned out I definitely was, and that was not the reason for it. But just to touch on it briefly, I believe that I had what's called progesterone deficiency. I was having some spotting and some bleeding in between my periods for probably the past year. I had even been to the doctor about it, and they didn't dig very deep and just said I was healthy, even though, you know, I went to the doctor prior to us even trying to have kids because I was concerned about it. Something triggered me in my research, and I shifted my focus to that, and it turns out that I do believe that I had progesterone deficiency, which I can do a whole nother video on that and how I corrected it. And I do believe that that is why I've been able to sustain this pregnancy, this little girl right here, because I was able to correct that deficiency. And that is something I had no idea about. I did all the right things. I went to the doctor and I tried to find out if it was something going on, and they told me, no, everything looks fine, you're healthy. But sometimes doctors miss things, and like I said, sometimes there's just no answer, and it just gets summed up to a chromosomal abnormality, and you just have to trust your body and move forward. So that is what I did. We had the miscarriage at the end of February. I made a few changes that I felt were worth trying, and then April we were pregnant again with this little girl. But what I did differently, like I mentioned, I took another look at my health, made a couple of changes, and these changes I hesitate to mention because everybody's different. So I don't want you to run out and try to do what I did, because my situation is likely different than your situation. However, I will make a separate video on exactly what I did for my specific situation, progesterone deficiency. If you think that would be helpful, I will definitely do a video just on that. But I am a little nervous. I don't want to just say do this and you're going to be having a healthy pregnancy afterward, because it could really throw things out of balance for you. Visit your doctor, talk about your symptoms if you have any that are concerning, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So this time around, I didn't test like I did last time. I tested really early the first pregnancy, and it was just agonizing and painful to find out so early and then see the lines get lighter and lighter. So this time around, I didn't want to test until I was late for my period, because then I wouldn't necessarily know. Maybe I could just chalk it up to a little bit of a late period if it happened again. I really was worried about it happening again. But I have to say that I began to have some hope when I mentioned I had progesterone deficiency, where I was spotting between my periods, and I for the first time wasn't when I made some changes, and so I had more hope just from that. The end of April came around and I got a strong positive test. I just felt so much peace right then and there, because that line was darker than my first pregnancy ever got, and I just felt in that moment that this little baby was going to stick for the long haul. That's not to say I didn't have anxieties throughout, that I haven't had anxieties throughout pregnancy. I have, but we'll talk about that. At this time when I found out I was pregnant, first of all, I immediately eliminated as much stress as I could, because as hard as it is with all of your anxieties after having a miscarriage, there's nothing worse than worrying and then worrying about worrying and all of that. And of course, there's no perfect answer. You can't just snap your finger and stop worrying like that. If we could eliminate stress, we were going to do it. And then I just worked really hard at trying not to stress too much. But I mean, I can't deny I was afraid. that it would happen again. I really truly was for quite some time, and that never really went away from me. It's just something I kind of learned to live with. And each day that passed literally was a victory to me and meant the world to me. And I just prayed and I thanked God for every day that passed and just remained grateful, and just being grateful for the baby that was growing day by day was a huge part in helping relieve some of that anxiety. But was the anxiety totally gone? No, of course not. I don't think a lot of us can experience something like that and then just snap out and have no anxiety or worries about it at all. But everybody also deals with it differently. So, and that's the other thing I want to talk about, which is the different emotions that you might feel when pregnant after a miscarriage. So, of course, we've already talked about the anxiety, the fear of it happening again, but sometimes when I started to get morning sickness, sometimes I would find myself feeling guilty because, you know, I was a little frustrated that I felt so sick. And so I would feel really guilty for even having any negative feelings at all about this pregnancy. And so just give yourself grace because you went through something hard, and there is no perfect way to grieve, and there's no perfect way to move forward. Allow yourself to feel all the pregnancy feelings. So if you are feeling morning sickness and blah, then it's okay not to feel the greatest about it. Respect your emotions and your feelings and feel them. Allow yourself to truly feel them, because that is part of the pregnancy experience. I had to remind myself to be nice to myself. So don't feel bad if you feel super afraid or anxious, and don't feel bad if you don't feel those things. And if you do feel excited for your pregnancy, or you do feel frustrated for feeling sick, allow yourself those emotions. There's no right or wrong way to grieve, and there's no right or wrong way to move past a miscarriage. And you know what? Sure enough, I was enjoying this pregnancy. When I got to the second trimester, it was wonderful, you know, that blissful period of pregnancy where the sickness goes away and it's just, you have all that energy. And as the weeks passed, the worry lifted a little bit. I think it's always going to be there a little bit, but there is hope, and you can be encouraged in your pregnancy, and it's not all going to be fear and anxiety. I hope this video was helpful in just giving you the okay to feel how you feel, to grieve how you grieve. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll also like the video I did talking about all my early pregnancy symptoms, and also sharing in more detail about my early miscarriage. So I'm going to link that on the screen right here, as well as in the description. If you want to hear how this pregnancy has been going, then you'll enjoy watching my pregnancy playlist, which I will link here on the screen as well. Be sure to get subscribed if you want to see more pregnancy updates, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!